Ibn al-Arabi, the author of the Book of Divine Closeness, begins in the name of Allah, the most gracious and merciful. Change and strength come from Him. He inspires knowledge in His servants, granting them understanding of each scene and subject through His majesty and generosity. They are bestowed with knowledge of His blessings and the grace of His virtues through various divine dispositions and numerous examples of judgment. They rotate between the realm of spirits and the densities of bodies, perfectly applying the rule of God, who establishes them between flawed actions and flawless judgment. Indeed, servants often convert disordered commands into orderly execution, yet they also disrupt well-established and solidly executed orders. Thus, through divine grace, words that were once distorted and unclear become straight and understandable, transforming into pure Arabic. This results in the words being closer to those endowed with insight and understanding, simplifying the perception of otherwise complex and intractable matters. The divine message has moved from obscurity to clarity, through which sublime gifts are bestowed upon humanity. God strengthens those who embrace and internalize the divine message with scenes of glory and evident signs. Thus, the arms of the magnificent Muhammad have been revealed from his station, as stated in the language of the Quran. It is not the time for you to stand still. Return to the paths of truth and guidance, for you are angels in human form, honorable messengers. They were honored with the divine word, elevated by divine proximity, and thus they brought the springs of truth to the heavens, penetrating into the subtleties of knowledge in intellectual matters and Sufi sources. Their actions, praiseworthy situations, and humble postures are all ascribed to the omniscient Creator. Some of these actions are clearly reprehensible, like drilling a hole in a ship as intended in Surah Al-Kahf, verse 79, where it is said, "I wanted to save it," highlighting the dominance of pain and suffering in certain actions. Others are commendable, like Moses' companion killing a child, which is solely praiseworthy. The one who heals is God, as stated in Surah Ash-Shura, verse 80, and repairing the wall hiding a treasure for orphans is another such commendable act. These chosen servants are free from committing sins and are endowed with zeal against evils. Therefore, they are people of secrets, possessing a majestic appearance against arrogant oppressors. God has bestowed the honor of His manifestation in the abode of peace upon them, describing their flawed states with dignity. Hence, they are the true companions of the heavenly maidens, proclaiming clear evidence from their Lord. They are elevated to the gifts of fulfilling the duties of faith and Islam, supported by divine strength. The entire creation, or rather, the witnesses of nights and days, are elevated to their level. Honored not with other feet but with those of Muhammad, this has not deterred them from advancing forward, adding strength to their resolve. They are so distinct that fools do not recognize them, and children cannot see them. The authority of saints and imams does not extend to them. May God's peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, a part of whose bright lights are mentioned here, to whom belong commendation, perfection, and completeness. His family, too, receives prayers and peace, breathing through the essence of scholars in their cloud-shaded towers. This continues not just as long as stars shine and doves coo, for that is a finite state. The goal of the knowers and the everlasting witness is continuity, and peace be upon them forever. Now, undoubtedly, when the universal truth dominates every servant and the signs become evident, every truthful person witnesses their own hypocrisy. They were authoritative imams because they acquired an aspect of the truth, through which they view their Creator and Maker. Thus, they are called distinct, not subject to general rules, and possess the power to remain hidden from the public eye. Creation does not besiege them to the point of collapse. Some of their affairs reach this station. However, despite being endowed with strength at this station, they do not exhibit its burdens, nor do its rules manifest upon them. Like Abu Bakr al-Siddiq, they may still exhibit the dominance of this station in some aspects, but their testimony is only in the form of negligence and forgetfulness. Then, despite knowing this position, they return to their original state. We can illustrate this with a saying of Omar: "When I saw that Allah had opened the heart of Abu Bakr to war, I understood that this stance was right." In this station, encounters occur. When Islamic scholars exercise ijtihad, independent reasoning, they clarify their judgments at this station. Here, manifestations become clear to them, and they begin to understand judgments previously unknown, through their descriptions. However, not knowing this level, they attribute it to their own opinions. Then, when they see someone who, without being a mujtahid, a person qualified to exercise ijtihad, and not following the known path of ijtihad, arrives at the same judgment, that is, even though the paths are different, the judgment is the same, they decree death and testify to heresy. This is not permissible, it is not halal, lawful, they say. They should be answered thus: did you set these conditions for the mujtahids in God's religion yourselves, or did you transmit them from the Prophet? If you did, you have no miracle or privilege. If you conveyed these views from the Book and Sunnah, traditions of the Prophet, then bring evidence. If they say, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, every mujtahid gets a reward, and if he is right, he gets 2 rewards, we say, the Prophet spoke the truth. You have only taken his words, nothing else. We did not object to you regarding the mujtahid. Our argument is about the conditions of the mujtahid. Who determined these conditions for you? Let's say the conditions you set for the mujtahid are correct, then we must ask, what is the reason for limiting the types of ijtihad to only this? If these conditions related to the mujtahid are from the tradition, then there is also a path for the self, purification from the ego, and being adorned with praiseworthy truth. One must possess divine character, receive knowledge from God, and be equipped with the abilities to acquire these knowledges. When the place is purified in this way and lives clearly, the truth regarding any matter becomes clear to him, just as it becomes clear to one of you mujtahids. The paths are different, but the judgment is the same. So, why do you take the judgment from Shafi'i, for example, and not from his friends Shefan and Araid? Knowledge belongs to God, not you. Your duty is to exercise ijtihad and observe. When you do this, God creates knowledge with it and after it, whether it is related to things conceived intellectually or those that are speculative. Similarly, our friends also have a separate ijtihad in seeking refuge in God, striving for truth in acquiring knowledge, and preparing and purifying themselves without relying on their own strength and power. With this ijtihad and after it, just like with you, God creates knowledge. So, what is this if not partiality? On the other hand, if you act impartially and consistently in your way, and objectively look at the judgment given by the person who acts, you would have seen that it was said before by someone from among you. You would have seen that someone, even if one, had said it. Then, when you see that this judgment was stated by someone using your method, you would have to admit that it is true. That is, what you previously called falsehood and immorality suddenly turns into truth. What is your evidence for the reliability of your method and the speed of your error? At most, you can say, we are required to affirm this ijtihad and deny that. This is where the dispute arises. May God forgive us and you. Although the chain of transmission is not very strong, a musnad hadith has been narrated, the Prophet ordered to refer to 2 righteous people in matters where there is no evidence and to follow their judgment. However, we do not object to the other party demanding proof for such news, which has an unreliable chain of transmission and seems unlikely to be interpreted. Rather, our method requires us to oppose you. Maybe this example will awaken the ignorant among you and lead them to change their attitude, because what prevails among us and the attitude of some individuals is to abstain from giving a clear judgment about the world. However, there are certain issues they care about. Undoubtedly, the purpose of a mujtahid giving a fatwa, legal opinion, for someone's acceptance is based on the state he is in, and this is derived from the Sharia. However, dignity and sovereignty prevent his execution. So, let the mujtahid issue a fatwa for execution, but his authority will not extend to encompassing the person he gives the fatwa on. Moreover, what we say is valid for the strongest of the apparent scholars. Our friends, when they arrive at such a conviction or decide on its necessity, the sovereignty of the person does not prevent them from implementing this decision. They rely on solid fortresses, which, whether from themselves or another, intervene and kill him. They do not need a government to use against them or to cause you to take him. If you understand, we have indeed expressed the truth to you and guided you to the right path. Now let's return to our friend and say, O our friends, O our pure hidden possessions, you pure strangers who stand indifferent to these individual levels, be silent. When you are silent, listen. When you listen, understand. When you understand, act and trust. Hopefully, you will achieve salvation. Know that many people belonging to our path, like Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, have thought that there is no station between the Siddiqs, truthful ones, and the prophets. According to them, someone who rises on the shoulders of Siddiqhood will find himself within the station of prophethood, but the doors are closed to us. Therefore, there is no way to climb up on the shoulders of Siddiqhood, but we are on the same front with them, and that is our main goal. When we say Siddiq, we do not mean Abu Bakr, Omar, or someone else, may God be pleased with them. For the general demeanor and attitude of Abu Bakr indicate that he was indeed a Siddiq, truthful one, and others share this station with him. Hence, Allah has said, indeed, they are the truthful ones, Surah Al-Adiyat, 19. Abu Bakr was distinguished with a secret granted to him by Allah, settled in his heart, and the Prophet himself testified to this. What we mean is that, in our view, there is a station between Siddiq and prophethood, and this is the station we have mentioned. What I am saying is that there was no one between Abu Bakr and the Prophet Muhammad. We are not talking about Siddiqhood. Therefore, Abu Bakr is the highest of the Aliyah, saints. So work hard, may Allah be pleased with you, to attain this station. I present to you the signs that will make you see this station. That is, if you fulfill the conditions of seclusion as mentioned in the book, if the scenes of the unseen are elevated for you, if you cover these, observe them, be present in the locality, be aware of them, be purified, be aware of sacred stations, and accept esoteric knowledge, know that you are part of the great sainthood, entering the encompassing, great circle. Therefore, do not insist on ruling over your family or showing your apparent sovereignty in these matters, even though you have absolute power. Because your station is very high. The Almighty Allah will slowly bring you to the end from a direction you are not aware of. As He said, among our creation, there is a community who guides with the truth and administers justice accordingly. And those who deny our signs, we will gradually lead them to destruction from where they do not know. I will give them time, indeed, my punishment is severe, Surah Al-Araf, 181. These verses of the Almighty Allah are not talking about the world. Undoubtedly, He will also give you time, for Allah gives thus. He generates every category from the direction He desires and is passionately attached to. In this regard, there is no difference between the people of this world and the hereafter. This destruction, meaning gradual destruction, and the trap are much quicker and more effective than other categories. Do not go beyond any judgment for Allah, do not attempt to open any of the known paths of the ceremonial and formal scholars. Although there is a disagreement among these ceremonial and formal scholars, and one calls what the other calls lawful, unlawful, you should not imitate this form and pattern of death, nor oppose it. Fulfill the act directed at you in the moment you are in so that it may be peace and safety for you. Be entirely occupied with yourself, not with anything else. Go to their gatherings, be where they are in the majority. If you cannot find a place where the majority is, then be with those who talk about this matter. The people of the path rarely need such things, they are distant from the world. Therefore, their actions are few, and thus the judgments applicable to them are few. May Allah make you successful. If you deem it appropriate to be on the ground of judgments and to deal with rapid judgments, and understand that its guardian is Gabriel, know that this is the first step in attaining the station we speak of. If the document containing these judgments is presented before you, then you will observe the situations, the wisdom, and the laws of prophethood. You will observe the eras and places, their conditions. Then you will also observe the orientation of these judgments towards the conditions for which the people stand. Thus, when applying a judgment to a person, their condition is taken as the basis, not the person himself. Therefore, protect well what you see, know that Gabriel does not descend with revelation to anyone other than a prophet, and does not establish a sharia. Therefore, act consciously within a framework of means at this point. If you want to achieve this station, something will reflect in your heart. At that time, you will see the form of Gabriel, but it is not Gabriel. This is a station specific to the Aliyah. When you see this form, look at it. If you see that this form is looking at you, understand that you are one of the Aliyah. If you do not see it looking at you, know that you are not the one desired for this station. Therefore, be cautious and return with a manner of propriety, and be among the Aliyah, saints, who do not have authority in Sufism. Concentrate on the truth you see in the form of Gabriel. You will see a bed being effectively spread out there, which signifies descents of judgment. Descend with them towards the lowest level of the cave. At that time, you will see the hearts of some individuals and the more formal and rule-oriented scholars among them. For them, these subtleties, latif, permeate reality. Hence, the judgments appear to them from behind a thin veil, and they say, the judgment regarding this matter is thus. Therefore, thoroughly investigate the time, place, and state from every aspect. You will see the reality of that mujtahid, one who exercises independent judgment in legal or theological matters, which might have changed from one judgment to another. At this point, look at the subtleties, take your time or depending on the place, you will see its aesthetics. The reason why the miracles of prophets, the wonders of the Aliyah, and the extraordinary feats of the masters vary according to place, state, and time is this. Then, may Allah grant you success. Look at the truth that appears in the form of Gabriel, holding a book in hand. This house has been cast upon Gabriel, but not upon the messengers, peace be upon them. Gabriel is truly in his own form. We have understood the matter inversely because your knowledge regarding Gabriel is lesser than your knowledge of the truth. Therefore, it has been narrated that some knowers have said, Gabriel descends upon the hearts of the Aliyah, for they share a commonality in form and feel his descents. However, this person who spoke these words did not speak within human measures and did not express the truth as it deserves to be expressed. Instead, it is not a statement that a person of such a station would make. Then, turn your eyes away from these subtleties and look at the levels of your people in this context, as messengers, as knowers, and as saints who are not messengers. You will see that they are at a level above all humanity. Then, at this station, you will see their acceptance of these tablet descents, their acceptance with judgment. Beside this tablet, they are saddled with a tool and descend with it. Therefore, they are higher in their capacity as knowers than in their capacity as messengers. Because sainthood and knowledge restrict them to observation in the divine presence, while prophethood lowers them to witness the intensity of divine names in opposition, with pharaohs and tyrants. Nothing is heavier for them than the clash of names with names. That is why the prophet, after seeking refuge in Allah from actions and states, would say, I seek refuge in you from you. The reason is the intensity of the aforementioned station. O our brethren, when you witness this, look at the lineage of the heirs of prophethood, as expressed in this hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him. The scholars are the heirs of the prophets. Also, look at this verse, the earth will be inherited by my righteous servants, Surah Al-Anbiya, 105. Because at this point, the authority of judgment belongs to them. Surely, when you hear us saying from a knower that sainthood is the greatest prophethood, the rank of the Arif Wali, knowing saint, is higher than that of the messenger, know that this statement is made in terms of individuals, that is, in the context of their human consideration. And in this context, there is no intrinsic virtue or honor in the species. Virtues and superiority are only in connection with the ranks. Therefore, the prophets, peace be upon them, are superior to other humans only in terms of their ranks. For instance, Prophet Muhammad is at the rank of sainthood, prophethood, and messengerhood. The existence of the rank of sainthood and knowledge is perpetual, while the rank of prophethood is temporary and ends with its proclamation. In this regard, what is permanent and enduring is superior. The Arif Wali is present with him, while the messenger emerges from him. The state of being established is higher than the state of emergence. In this regard, the Prophet is higher and superior in his capacity as an Arif Wali than in his capacity as a messenger, but the person is the same, only the ranks change. We do not mean that a Wali among ordinary humans is superior to a messenger. We seek refuge in Allah from such ignorance and debasement. Therefore, you must understand the words of revelation and existence in this direction. For us, the important thing is the ranks. We only speak about ranks, not individuals. Because speaking about individuals can sometimes be gossip. So, speak in terms of the attributes of men, about ranks and states. There is a drink known at every step and a divided sustenance for us. May Allah grant you success in reaching the station. I have drawn your attention to it, clearly showed you its way, and set its signs. I have revealed the excuses and sources of judgment given by the scholars of form and limb. So, do not criticize them, do not cut off your relations with them, do not envy them, do not turn your faces away from them. O servants of Allah, be brothers until Allah sends down His command, being occupied with your own selves rather than with the state in which people are. When you have this awareness, a knowing person stays within the limits of his own boundary. The true guide is Allah, and there is no Lord but Him. The explanation related to this station has thus ended within the framework of the book's purpose. I have not seen any of our friends draw attention to this point or encourage observation of it. On the contrary, I have seen many of them forbid entering into such subjects because they do not enjoy them. Therefore, I was alone among my peers, only I was interested in this matter. However, I could not open my mouth and say anything due to the harsh reactions of the deniers, until I saw the book of Abu Abdurrahman as-Salami. There was a text in this book, and he had named this book the Dome of Proximity. I was very pleased to find this supporting support. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. The book has ended, not in terms of the information it contains, but in terms of time. Blessings and peace be upon our Master Muhammad, his family, and his companions. And peace be upon you. Certainly, the best knower is Allah.